This next exercise is for adding and editing spaces. If you select the template scheme again, we're going to go into exercise or scheme number 2, Simple Clinic Excel Import, and duplicate that scheme. So we'll click the duplicate button, make it your own. So I'm going to put my name on this one, and I'm going to land it into the space exercise project. You can land it in your project, whichever project you select, and leave this as default. Select the building, proceed. So now it's duplicating that building and a few spaces that we will use for the exercise. On the tree on the left, let's use that for navigation this time. If you unfold it, you'll see there's a first floor and a lot of spaces on the first floor. If we select first floor here, we can actually even dive into specific spaces, but we're going to go into first floor right now. And it will load the first floor. And all the spaces will be visible on the left side. So there is our floor slab with the background image that we imported earlier, and now we have some spaces. The floor slab's locked. The spaces are not locked actually, so you can actually move them around. And these spaces actually, we're going to try and fit them into this lower left corner here. Imagine that these were, there's many, we'll bring in some new spaces later, but let's just say these were handed to us, and you'll see that the names show up as you zoom in. As you zoom in, more information shows up, or you can click on the toggle button right here for labels, and it turns labels on and off and makes them visible at different zoom levels. So I've toggled it to show them at any zoom level now. So we can see this is a central mechanical room, for example, and we could move it into position. It could be as rough as this, where you're kind of doing a quick study to see how spaces fit. You can select one at a time, or if you hit the shift button, you can select multiples and move them as well too. I'm being kind of rough here, but you get the idea of what's going on. That's one way of selecting them. We also have a marquee selection, where you can actually draw a box around some spaces, and whatever inside the box, left to right, is enclosed in the box. Right to left is whatever is touching the box, and you can move the spaces into position like that. And you can get as detailed as you'd like at this level. If you're just doing a simple quick study, then you could leave them even at this. Okay, this looks like a decent layout. So that's just moving the spaces into position. The other thing that you can do is edit the size of the space. Notice that we're in edit mode, so we can actually select the reshaping button. And also notice that there's a lock here called area lock. This is kind of interesting because what it does is it locks the total area of each space. So even if you shift it, it's kind of reshaping itself to have the exact same square footage. You can actually toggle the square footage on with this button right here next to the shape. It shows that this is in square meters, so now the square meters showed up. So as we change this, you'll notice that the area stays absolute to that area. That's because the toggle button is locked, and we can start to refine this to get it to fit into those spaces. You'll notice that the red bubbles don't appear for reshaping the space until you zoom in sometimes. For smaller spaces, at a zoomed out level, you really do not see that. And that is to keep the interface clean and make sure that that's what you want to do. So if you wanted to reshape, oops, I'm zooming out, I want to zoom in with the mouse panning with the shift key, and then notice that this one doesn't show up, so I'm zooming in, and if I reselect it again, then they show up. So that's with the lock option. If I unlock it, then the size can be broken. So I can start to reshape it, not only as a rectangle, but even add new nodes to it to resolve the shape of a space based on how we want to set up this design. So now we're breaking that square footage. So that's one way of quickly getting. Imagine this as being a program requirement, and then you're trying to resolve it around structure and actual configuration and negotiating with the client of how big a space do they want. They want more furniture in the space, so we need to make it bigger, etc. So you start resolving that design using this functionality. So that's editing of spaces and the moving them into position. And if you spend a few minutes, you notice even while we were talking here, we can get pretty quick resolution in at least an initial design idea, and share that with the team or the client. I'm saving that, and I can hit share and say I'm going to share it again with my team for a further editing, and send them a BIM mail and say, take a look at this layout. So I'll send a message again to Young and say space study 1, and that's it. I'll say take a look at that content. Oh, take a look, and this will send a BIM mail from this view, and Young can continue working on it.